Hi, Dr. Jeff Banas. Today I'm going to talk about aerobic exercise and high intensity training. Right now there's a lot of articles and posts being out there presented that's saying aerobic conditioning, aerobic form of exercise is bad for you. That it affects your cortisol, your stress hormones, decreases testosterone, leads to fatigue and constant stress on the body. And most of these articles now are also saying that high intensity, short intervals are the best form of exercise. So, is aerobic training bad for you? Well, yes, it is bad for you, and no, it's not bad for you. And that's where the misinformation and confusion is about the aerobic exercise being bad for you. What is aerobic exercise? And that's the issue when they're talking about aerobic exercise being bad for you. What are they defining as aerobic exercises? They're not defining anything as what is aerobic exercise. So I'm going to explain a little bit about what type of exercise is the best and what combination exercise is the best to help with weight loss or reach your health or fitness, triathlon, endurance, or marathon goals. What I really need you to do is you really need to watch the video on the VO2 metabolic testing, okay? I'm not going to repeat everything right here, but you're going to need to watch that video to understand a little bit of what aerobic exercise is. So let me, in these articles they're basically saying aerobic exercise is bad. And what they're basically saying is going off for running every day or biking every day is bad for you, and better results would be achieved by doing shorter intensity, higher interval training. And they are right, but the problem is they're not defining what aerobic exercise is. And so let me explain a little bit about where we consider the aerobic exercise and what they're talking about the aerobic exercise maybe not being very good for you. So, and I'll just use myself as a little example, and we're going to talk about heart rate. So let's say I have a resting heart rate of about 50, right now. I'm just standing here talking, there's not much stress in my body, and I just have a resting heart rate of 50. Now if I start going for a brisk walk or a brisk hike, let's say my heart rate goes up to 75. And then I go a little bit, a faster pace, and I'm about at a 115. Now let's say I start really running. Now I'm over, let's say, in the 130, and then I start doing sprinting between the 160. So we have a range of a 50 to 160, okay, as far as our heart rate. Now, in there, what is aerobic, what becomes anaerobic, and where is the good aerobic zone to work out, and where is the bad aerobic zone to work out? And what we need to look at is what the results we get from a VO2 metabolic test to have an insight of see where our aerobic capacity is or what we're burning as fuel. So what I have here is basically a graph that the VO2 metabolic test gives us. And what we do here is, here's my heart rate, okay, so this is my heart rate, so let's say starting off and I'm walking, let's say I'm walking on a treadmill, and I'm a steady walk, and then we slowly speed that treadmill up until I get to a brisk walk, a light jog, and then a fast run. And so what we have is my heart rate starting here at 50, going to 60s, 75, going up all the way to 60 where I'd be sprinting like crazy. Now the VO2 metabolic test, what it does is it gives us our fat burning potential, and it lets us know what we're using as the source of fuel, whether or not we're burning fats, carbohydrates, or sugars. And so if we use this graph right here, we see my heart rate's going up here, here's the fat, and you see right here at this spot, this is the point where I'm burning a high majority of fat. And then as my heart rate starts going up, this fat starts dropping, and as I'm running up in here, see I'm getting very little fat as the source of fuel. So now that we have this graph and we can see how much our body's burning fat, what as relation to heart rate, now we can talk a little bit more about what's the aerobic that's good for you and what's this aerobic form that they're always talking about being bad. Because I know some people have gotten some VO2 metabolic testing and they've been told they need to work at this heart rate to increase their body's ability to burn fat. And there's a lot of people out there that heard of base training, and you're doing this lower, slower aerobic conditioning to build up your base. And now suddenly you get these articles that say this aerobic base training is bad for you, and this is why we're going to put in contents right here. Okay, so the difference is, now if I just only get up and I start jogging, let's say, so I'm jogging, let's say I'm jogging at 130. So let's say this is me and I'm jogging at 30. So right here, you can see it, my body's not burning very much from fat. There's a higher percent of the fat right here. And then we have a threshold. Now threshold is where your body's going to shut down and burn mostly all sugar. That's pretty high intensity sprint for most people, and everybody's going to have a threshold where that's going to happen. So you see, if I'm right here running at 130, I'm not at threshold, so I'm not getting the real benefits of real high intensity training, but I'm also way outside my fat burning potential, right up in here. So what I'm doing is I'm not burning a ton of fat, I'm not getting real high intensity intervals, and that's the aerobic area that's not very good for you, okay? But you don't know what that is until you do some type of test, okay? And this is why they're saying these long bikes or running every day is not necessarily the best thing for you. So if I get up and I'm starting running, and I'm in this zone right up in here, yeah, that can affect the stress of my body, can affect hormone status. However, if I'm at this brisk walk right here, where my body is burning mostly fat, that form of aerobic training is very good for you. And that's this misconception about the aerobic training being bad for you. They're not defining what's aerobic. So, because if I'm going through a brisk walk right in this zone, let's say I'm still at 115. Now 115 heart rate might not sound that high, but if my resting heart rate is 50, that's 65 heartbeats higher than what I'm doing right now. Okay? And that is very beneficial. That's hiking, that's kayaking. That's not me standing here, it's not me just walk, but it's maybe a brisk walk, okay? As I move into a higher, faster heart rate and start running faster, I move into here. So when they're talking about aerobic conditioning being bad for you, that is in between this zone right here. You're not getting the benefits of high intensity threshold training, but you're not getting the benefits of the aerobic conditioning as far as developing your aerobic capacity and your body's ability to burn fat. So if you go watch the video on VO2 metabolic testing, you'll understand a little more on how we get this measurement. But if you don't have the VO2 metabolic test, what you could do is just go off for light jog, brisk walk, probably a little bit slower than your normal run, and then on other days you do high intensity. So a great workout would be for conditioning or base training or whatever it be, would light jog or fast walks at this time, and then I'm going to go do 50 times where I'm going to do high intensity sprints in this time. So again, in summary, when these people are in these articles are talking about aerobic conditioning bad for you, what are they defining as aerobic? They're defining this whole area here as aerobic. And the aerobic conditioning that's necessarily not the best for you is this area right up in here. This area right here, this aerobic capacity right here, which may be, 50, 20, 30 beats above your resting heart rate, is very good for you. And that's going to training in that zone is going to really help your ability to burn fat as the force as fuel. So go watch that video on the VO2 metabolic test, and then this aerobic conditioning will even make more sense. If you're training for a triathlon, a marathon, or maybe just need to lose a few pounds and you feel like you may need a little help with your training plan or your nutrition, please check out our website. We offer customized, one-on-one, web-based training where we can set up your daily exercise plan for you and set you up in a diet and nutritional plan that would be best for your weight loss or your athletic pursuits. If you have any questions whatsoever, please drop me an email at drjeff@fatman2ironman.com, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.